Welcome to the Picks from the Yard podcast. I'm your host, Wayne Salvatore. Just a humble caddy trying to scratch out winners every week for you guys, along with my friends, family, even acquaintances are welcome as long as they provide winners. Now that they've gone and legalized gambling here in Jersey, we're going to provide you with the hot selections every week.
Face, 9 of 10 times out of place, and I thank God I'm not like you.
Picks from the Yard, Pro Bowl edition. We're down, and there were two. We got a little. We have a week off for. Well, not really. We got the All-Star game of the NFL coming up this weekend as preparations are made for the big game in next weekend. We are also we're here to promote. We're gonna do the live podcast again. Everybody that came out last year had a great time. Come on down to Carpe Diem. It's gonna be on Friday. It's gonna be a nice happy hour one. I know everybody's thirsty when they get out of work on Fridays, so we moved it. It's gonna be Friday at 6:00. On the 31st, Friday of Super Bowl Sunday weekend. We'll keep pumping out the date and the time there, but we would love everybody to come out. We had a great time last year, and it was a lot of fun, and it's gonna lead into my birthday celebration. So I'm gonna tack that on to try to squeeze people into coming out. It'll be good. Carpe Diem, 14th and Grand in Hoboken, New Jersey.
It's going to be like a 3-day extravaganza.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
The podcast, your birthday, then the Super Bowl. And for all of you listeners out there who want to chime in, we'll probably have a part of the podcast like we did last year where people can come up and put in their 2 cents. So if you got
all
some
your Monday morning quarterbacks,
some comments or some picks, go there and you'll be able to get involved.
Everybody loves to taunt us on Mondays after our losing season, especially this year. Come on out, give us your advice. We're going to be picking we picked a bunch of props last year, so anything you might want to discuss, you can get on the show live at Carpe Diem. So a quick recap. It's just me and my brother Richard in the studio this week. We went 1-3 last week to sort of keep up.
I feel. What did everyone else get voted off the island?
Yeah,
we should be the first 2 voted off the island. By the way, I don't know. This doesn't bode well.
There's 2 teams left, and there's 2 handicappers left. I don't know what's happening.
Quote unquote handicapper.
We didn't do so well last week, but it was like we were discussing it before, like for the both favorites and both overs to come in is crazy. That almost never happens. Those are usually the most popular choices with the public, and I was really, really shocked that they. We were saying we were actually nervous about San Fran after the results of the first game came in. We're like, oh boy. But San Fran prevailed for us and rolled Green Bay as we actually thought. A lot of people, it wasn't really rocket science there, thought the same way. The over did come in. We had both unders, and then the early game we tried with Tennessee, and once again they had a lead, and KC is just, I mean. We'll see in the big game what happens, but that offense is insane. I just go down, and it's not an issue at all.
They have a great offense, but part of the narrative for the Super Bowl is San Fran has a great defense, and they're all healthy, so you have that great KC offense versus the great San Fran defense, so it'll be interesting.
It's a great on paper, it looks like it's going to be a great matchup. They say championships. I mean, defenses win championships. So, we're not going to discuss. We're not going to discuss the big game just yet. But it looks like it's going to be quite a showdown. A couple of stories last week. We'll start with the Giants, who are assembling quite a coaching staff. They're basically grabbing a bunch of guys that have been fired who are unsuccessful, and they picked up Jason Garrett. It's he was coached the Cowboys for a number of years and didn't really accomplish too much. They got they grabbed it's not officially up, but it looks like they grabbed Freddie Kitchens from Cleveland as the tight. What did it?
They say he might be the tight ends coach because they don't have a tight ends coach yet, and he had that position for Dallas years ago, and I think he overlapped with Garrett at Dallas. So they're saying that.
And Garrett's going to be the offensive coordinator, but I thought the offensive coordinator at Dallas was the real reason that offense clicked. I don't even know what Garrett did. They called him the clapper. I feel like he was a cheerleader, but I guess we'll see.
He was an offensive mind from years, and he came from the offensive side of the ball without a doubt. But the last couple of years, especially this past year, it was more the coordinator. I don't know. It seems like their coaching staff. What was the island of misfit toys? Yeah. They're basically picking up like guys that every other team's like, we don't want this guy. Like, oh, come on to the Giants. We'll take you.
It's going to be
really interesting.
Very interesting to see.
Right.
See how it plays out.
Yeah. Well, maybe the head coach is kind of smart because it's his first job, and he's like, I'm going to pick a bunch of guys that no one wants as a head coach, so maybe I'll be safe for a couple years because these guys were all failures as head coaches.
It's it's pretty funny. I don't know what's going on there, but I guess people who are more knowledgeable than me are making these decisions. So we shall see. The other big Derek Jeter, Hall of Fame. He did not get voted in unanimously, and this is like people are just. I mean, I could see both sides of this argument, but one guy didn't vote for him. There was one vote who said no, not this year. So the Yankee fans are kind of like, what the heck?
They're all up in arms, and I'm known as kind of a Jeter basher.
Yeah, I got some texts that you were campaigning.
Yeah, that I somehow had something to do with this. But here's the thing. You can't deny what he did on the field. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, all-time great shortstop. But this is a thing that the writers used to do all the time. I looked it up. Joe DiMaggio, his first year of eligibility, got 44% of the vote. 44% of the vote.
Joe DiMaggio.
He got fewer votes than this guy named Rabbit Maraville, who was a .258 career hitter. So it took DiMaggio 3 years to get in. His second year, he got up to 69%. Then eventually got in. So the writers used to always do this. Not as much in the last few years. Mariano Rivera got in, unanimously. So everyone thought that Jeter would, because who could vote against Jeter? But, the one writer, I think maybe he's like a Miami beat writer who's angry at what Jeter's doing to the Marlins.
Whoever that guy is, I would love to buy him a beer. I'm not sure how I would be able to get in touch with him, but I love it because he's just like sticking it to the Yankee
To be
fans.
honest, it gave me a little bit of joy. And he didn't get unanimous.
We're nothing if petty
Exactly,
sometimes
that's
on
right,
this
yeah.
podcast. We've been tracking college basketball too, right around the corner. It's once the Super Bowl ends, we got to jump in. It's been a crazy. It's for anybody that's been paying attention. It's a wild year so far. It is wide open. Gonzaga's the only team that's really rolling, but historically, I think they've made the Final Four. I should have checked my stats here, but they haven't won it all, and they're the only team that's playing consistent. Duke lost 2 in a row. It's just wide open. These top teams keep getting knocked off, and we've been dabbling, and there's some money to be made out there on these games because these dogs are they're winning outright. So it's been really exciting. We'll be sending some pics out on Twitter starting this week on the Saturday card.
Right, and Gonzaga looks very good, and now they're in a conference where basically they're by far the best team, although St. Mary's sometimes gives them a battle. So they probably have a clear path to be a number 1 seed and, potentially have a good shot to get to the Final Four. But then, then they play teams that come from much tougher conferences. So you can make arguments for other teams. If you look at it from a gambling standpoint, you have, a number of teams that are the favorites, and they're all 9 or 10 to 1. Gonzaga, Kansas, Duke, Louisville. So when the favorites are 9 or 10 to 1, there's a lot that you can look at, and you can make some money. You have Baylor, who has 1 loss, who now is in one poll they're ranked number 1. They're 15 to 1, and they're good. They beat Kansas at Kansas. They've beat some good teams. San Diego State is undefeated. They come from a weak conference. They're ranked 4th. They're 33 to 1. North Carolina, who's struggling, is 40 to 1. They're terrible. They are, but you have some juicy odds. Duke is 10 to 1. So you really can, get a good futures bet in there if you have an opinion right now.
It's been great so far, and it's gonna be a crazy year for college hoops.
It's gonna be crazy. And I was looking at the rankings, and at the very bottom of the rank, I thought there's something. I'm like, am I seeing this right?
Nope, it's true.
Ranked number 24th in the nation.
Are
is
you, baby?
Rutgers University.
First
what the
time
heck's going
since
on?
1979.
Is
That's
that
right.
Wow.
Rutgers is in the top 25. They've been playing great. It's very exciting for the RU faithful, especially with the pitiful situation the football program's been in. A little excitement. It's great. I love it. Good. It's good to see one of the local squads here. Turning things around. They actually made the tournament when I was a student there, and they won the A10 in 91. They haven't been ranked since 79. So that shows you how crazy it is out there. That's right, people. The Scarlet Knights are in the top 25.
It's great. It's great. And I think they're third right now in the Big Ten, which is shocking.
Yeah.
They defeated a couple of good teams, and no, it's great. I tried to see their futures odds, but I forgot you can't bet on them.
No,
they
you
weren't.
can't. I know a guy. You got to take that through
right.
the illegal. We can't discuss that on air.
Right.
I know a guy who knows a guy, I should say. Anyway, it's like we said, the Pro Bowl's this weekend, and we got a couple of picks here. We're not shying away. This game is somewhat of a joke over the years. It's always on in the back. I'm usually bartending. I don't think if I had the night off, I'd really be tuning in, but we do throw some action on it every year. And historically, it used to be a free. It was an ATM. You'd be able to you'd bet the over. Nobody tried, and you would have your bankroll for the Super Bowl for years. I mean, it just was like it was a scrimmage to these guys, and but then they locked it down like 4 years ago. It stopped all of a sudden. They started playing.
They switched the format a number of years ago. They switched it back since then. But from 2011, 2012, 2013, the game became a joke. You had a total of 96 points, then 100 points, then 97 points.
Man.
After 2013, Roger Goodell threatened to do away with it because there was a lot of criticism from fans and from the media that it become a joke and no one's playing. And that's when they switched to the other format where they had like team captains, Deion Sanders, Michael Irvin. And since then, and you got the feeling the Players Association got involved and they didn't want to do away with it because it's a check for the players. So you got the feeling that they kind of said, well, we got to take this more seriously and not make it just this offensive showcase where everyone, no one's playing defense. So since then, there's been 6 games. 5 of them have gone under. The only one that went over by a point. And it's become just a much more low-scoring, less like pass-heavy game. And I think, that's maybe a trend that's going to continue because the game's gone well under for a number of years. The total has gone down. But
50.5.
Yeah, which actually is kind of a low number. But I think everyone's going to look at that and look at the starting lineups and be like, oh, man, I'm betting the over. So
we're continuing to go against the obvious selections, which costs us money over the season.
It's been killing us. But you got to go with the sharp. You got to be sharp.
Under 50.5. Just throw some money at it. That's the way the trend's been going. And we usually wouldn't pick a side here, but we're gonna take a pick this year though because we got Harbaugh. Is it a John or Jim coaching?
I get them mixed up all the time. I think it's John. Who knows the kids, Jim and John? By the way, come on.
John Harbaugh will be coaching, and if you look at his, I mean, this is like something. Some people are in the know on this, but he doesn't lose in the preseason. Like he coaches to win no matter the circumstances. So I think we're gonna take the AFC this year. I don't, I usually don't pick a side, and I think, and he's got his quarterback in there, so I think.
I think so, and I think Lamar Jackson looked so bad and got criticized for the playoff game that you never want to say, oh, he has something to prove in the Pro Bowl, but maybe a little bit. Maybe he has such a bad taste in his mouth. He wants to come out there and show that, he is who people thought he was. And I do like Harbaugh in a meaningless game as a coach. I could see them maybe taking it a little more seriously than Pete Carroll, who actually is also coaching his own quarterback because Russell Wilson is on the other side. But I do like the AFC in this game.
It's basically a pick 'em. It's 1 point. We checked the number. The sites are all right around 1 point. So it's basically whoever you think's going to win, and we're backing the AFC. All right, Clegg's Corner returns. A little minor setback last week. 1-2, buddy?
Yeah, it wasn't so bad. 1-2. I mean, better than 0-3.
That is true.
Better than 1-3.
It's better than 1-3, I think. If I'm no math expert, but I think
Sounds
percent
like
wise,
we both had the same amount of wins. I don't know if it's better than 1-3.
We'll take that up with Richard later.
I hate being. I'm in a studio with two Ivy Leaguers. I need Dodge. I need somebody here to help.
a gut guy on the gut level.
Score.
1-2, 1-3.
Yeah. I really thought Watford was going to beat Tottenham. I don't know if you got to see that game because it was at 7:30 in the morning. So I'm guessing no.
No.
But Watford had a penalty kick, and I'm like, all right, this is all working out. And then the keeper saved it. And then Tottenham almost scored late too, though. So it was actually crazy. They have the VAR, the video assistant referee now.
Yeah.
And the ball came off a Tottenham player, was going over the line, and then a Watford player cleared it off the line, and all the Tottenham fans thought it was a goal, and they checked it. Almost all of the ball had rolled over the line, but just like a centimeter hadn't crossed the line, so it was no goal.
So close.
Who cares? I mean, Tottenham fans can, this is a clean podcast, right?
You edit it. You
we're
can
not
blip
ranting.
yourself.
There's no ranting on Clegg's Corner.
You can do it right. No ranting yet. The ranting will come later.
The other one, we had Norwich City and Bournemouth in a draw, and early red card for Bournemouth, and the penalty kick made it 1-0. That was never going to be a draw, so it's too bad. But Roma was a laugher, 3-1. So
that sounds like the fix was the old Donaghy way of fixing a game. You
basically throw a guy out.
Throw a guy out early in the game or get him in foul trouble. I want to look into that.
All right, we got 3 picks again this week, but there's no English Premier League this week.
Oh boy!
Again?
Yeah.
What is this? It seems
These
like
guys
every
get a lot
other
of
week.
breaks.
There was
no Spanish league a few weeks ago, right? Because of their cup, their domestic cup. Now it's time for the English league to do the FA Cup. So I mean, you can bet the FA Cup games. I just don't like to do it because the FA Cup is crazy. You always have like crazy upsets that you could never predict.
That's where you make money, buddy. Let's do it.
And there's so many games to choose from too. Check it out. Maybe we'll do an alternate Clegg's Corner that will only release on Twitter or something. I don't know.
A spinoff with some crazy bets.
Yeah, I'm staying away from it though for my picks this week.
It's not a bad idea. I don't like all these breaks. And by the way, this might be coming to the NBA. This is the commissioner's idea that in the middle of the season they're going to have these little mini tournaments. I'm not a fan.
That's exactly what it's modeled after. Yes.
I don't think it's a good idea. I mean,
listen, I don't want to use a terrible word here, but these little I'll say babies because I want to keep it clean. Why don't you try looping? Huh? Talk to me and Sweeney. We go 30, 35 days without a day off, huh, buddy?
Exactly,
it's physical labor there. These guys can't play a simple game. It's unbelievable.
No, I just want to clarify. They're not taking a break. They're just playing a tournament within the season.
Okay.
They're still playing.
I'm ranting about the NBA.
It's not. Yeah, no. Well, then the same thing is going to be in the NBA. They're not actually going to break. They're just going to start playing a tournament within the season. So they're going to have to cut down the regular season to accommodate it, I guess.
Well, I wouldn't mind some load management from looping. Let's see if I can talk to Sweeney about that.
Tell him to get in touch with Pop. All right. This week, so no England, so we're going to go all around the continent here for our picks. We're going to start off in Germany.
All right.
Saturday, 9:30 a.m.
Is it the Bundesliga?
It's the Bundesliga.
I like it, yes.
These are not terribly hard to say, but I know you'll screw them up later. So Red Bull Leipzig.
Oh, Red Bulls, right? That's the local team?
Yeah, you can just say Red Bulls. That's fine. They're playing against Eintracht Frankfurt.
Wait a minute.
You can just say Frankfurt.
I'm jotting these down phonetically. Am I saying that right?
Just say Frankfurt, like Frankfurter.
Frankfurter, okay.
Yeah.
Eintracht, wasn't that one of Mozart's big hits? Eintracht.
We'll check with David Martin on that.
Yes.
So Leipzig's actually having a great season, right at the top of the table. They're minus 137 on the road, so we're going to take the favorite here.
All right, I like it. While we're talking about Germany, check out Jojo Rabbit. Great film.
Yeah.
Watched it this past week.
Good, yeah.
Awesome. Very funny.
So then we're going to go over to Spain for our next game, Sunday, 8 a.m. We've got Celta Vigo versus Eibar.
Celta Vigo. Oh, those are easy.
Yeah, relatively easy. And I like the tie here at plus 260. So these teams are both down at the bottom of the Spanish league. Last time if you remember, we moved the Premier League draw theory to Spain, and it came in for us.
It worked out, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to go for that again, plus 260 for the draw. Then we're going to go to Italy. We're going to bet Roma for the third straight week. We bet against them, then we bet for them, and now we're going to bet
the draw.
The draw.
There we go.
You got it.
Hit
Roma versus Lazio. These are local rivals. They're both Roman teams, really. Lazio being like the surrounding area around Rome. And it's plus 265 in this
Whoa.
rivalry game. So
I like that.
all right, if you want to put them all three
If.
together, and
What do you mean,
I
if?
know you do, Wayne, 22-1.
20. I love it. There are no ifs on this. Come on, throw the money out there. We gotta recoup a few dollars here. One of these parlays is overdue, buddy. I think this could be the week.
Yeah, I'm feeling it.
Clegg's Corner. Soccer people, get involved.
I don't fear anything, anyone, anyone. I'm a freak, so dress like you, act like you want me to.
All right, a quick, very brief recap of our couple of picks here. For the Pro Bowl, we're going under 50.5, and we're taking the AFC. Throw a little money on it. You know what I mean? There's only 2 football games left. We have this one and the big one next week. And Clegg's Corner, we have Red Bull Leipzig over Eintracht Frankfurt. I think I got that right.
Sounds right.
Yeah, good. To win, a Red Bull to win. Then we have 2 draws: Celta Vigo to draw with Eibar, and Roma and Lazio to draw. Juicy odds on that parlay, 22-1. And start jumping in, dabble in hoops. I will send out some Saturday morning plays on college hoops. It's been great. Dogs winning, covering and winning outright. It's going to be an exciting NCAA season coming up with football coming to a close.
It's a great time of year. This is the time of year where I start paying attention to it. I
so
really do.
awesome.
And things are heating up. You got all the conference matchups, and then leading into the conference tournaments and March Madness. So it's great.
And the NHL All-Star game this weekend as well is always fun to tune into. Anything we want to plug?
Well, all right. I'm not going to plug. I'm going to rant
All
instead
right.
of plug. I'm
I
going to give a
like
little
it.
rant on
The new format.
I watched over the weekend. I had an under bet in the Knicks game.
Oh, boy.
I'm a long-suffering Knicks fan. I rarely watch them, so I watched some of it. I watched the very end, and they were in it. It was against the Sixers. Of course, they lost. I watched the Knicks game. It was like I was watching, like I'd gotten out of a bad relationship. Basically, I used to be a fan. I'm looking. They're showing the fans. The fans are into it. They're excited, and I'm looking. I'm like, I used to be that person. I used to have hope for the
I
Knicks.
can't believe
and
I
don't-
ever loved this person.
It's hard to believe, and I
This
guess
team.
there are people out there. I wonder about this, and if anyone who's a listener and is a Knicks fan and feels this way, please write to the podcast because I'd love to hear from you. Are there people who actually have hope? Like if the Knicks roll off 2 or 3 wins in a row, are people like, oh, we're going to the playoffs? We finally figured it out. Because from the outside looking in, they are a terrible franchise. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. They're just
ton
terrible.
of season ticket holders still
Oh.
believe it's insane. I think I've mentioned this before. I've been to one game in my life. It's a hot ticket. 3 years ago I went. They never had the lead. They got smoked by the Mavericks. They never had the lead. I go, this is what people are paying all this money for. It's brutal.
It's brutal. They're just terrible, badly run, and it's a shame because New York is like the mecca of basketball, you know? And so many great players come from New York. People would love to play for the Knicks if they were good, but they're just bad ownership, badly run for years. It's really a shame.
It's
hard to
terrible,
watch.
unwatchable.
Right.
And there's so much exciting. The NBA is actually pretty exciting now these days. There's a lot of superstars in the league, and but the Knicks are not a part of that.
Do you have anything to plug or rant?
I mean, I'm gonna plug the podcast.
Go ahead.
I don't have a rant to rant. I mean, I have a number of
Moving
rants. but I
forward,
don't
we
wanna-
should have Bubba's rants
I'm
as
gonna
part of
keep
the every
this,
once in a while part of the
keep this
show.
brief.
I think
You know
it's
what?
a
I'll
good-
rant about myself briefly. Fool me once. Historically speaking, so when Tennessee was winning the game, you just bet the other way. There's a way to safeguard your bet, and you hit like what's called a middle. So you bet KC when they're down, and then you have a free roll. And I do this all the time. And 2 weeks in a row, I refused. Stubborn. I'm ranting about myself. Stubborn, stupid Salvatore. Refuse 2 weeks in a row. Throw a little money on KC just to protect my bet. You throw it in live. I mean, the week before when they were playing Houston, you could have gotten them plus 350, and you have a chance to win both ways. If KC wins, and Houston covers, and I just will not. I just stick to my guns, which I rarely do. I love chasing middles, and I just couldn't. It's unbelievable, that offense.
And historically, you like betting middle. I'm not a big middle guy. You
middles.
love middle.
And I
There's
got
only one
burned.
person that we know who might love middles more than you. Mr. Bon Vivant himself, Mr. Bill Lesko.
Bill
He's a
Lesko
big-
sometimes
he's
has
Mr. He has
7 different middles going. He needs
has
like a
many different.
precise.
It's like a Venn diagram, and if he hits the exact center bullseye, he cleans up. It's like that's how
It's
he
like
plays
a gambling. It's a beautiful mind. There's all these sorts of
exactly.
numbers
That's
and
right. But I was
charts going
surprised-
through his head.
Those would have been 2 matchups where you'd want to bet a middle too,
Stubborn,
right?
my stubborn. I refuse to do it. Again, quickly, the podcast is going to be live, Carpe Diem, Hoboken, New Jersey, on Friday, January 31st, 6 o'clock. Rolling into birthday drinks for the host here. My birthday is Saturday, and then the Super Bowl Sunday. I suggest, I know what I'll be doing. I'll be starting probably around 5 o'clock with my first cocktail and shutting it down Monday. Hopefully with a lot of money in my pocket.
Hopefully with a lot of money. And I want to just mention, Rick Collins is hopefully going to be at the live, but we're going to get in touch with the contest winners and work
winners.
that.
Rick
and work
Collins
that out.
owes some people some drinks.
Yeah, so we're going to work that
He's
out.
gonna
And the
open up
fact
his,
that Tennessee, he was going to be on his way to Miami right now, so maybe sadly for him, he's good. But good for us, he'll be at the podcast.
We can ask him all about his Titans and what happened. He might be a little grouchy, but he's going to spend some of his communion money and buy drinks for people. So,
good.
so come on out and get involved. College hoops, big podcast. We're going to have a lot of props and the big game right around the corner. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe. We're on Apple, Android, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also subscribe at our website, picksfromtheyard.com. Visit the website for all of our archived and bonus episodes and more content. For comments, criticisms, and challenges to Wayne, email us at pftypod@gmail.com, and we'll be sure to get back to you. Join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're at PFTYPod on social media. Remember, gambling on sports is entertainment. Please don't overdo it. If you or someone you know is in over their head, call 800-GAMBLER for help. The Picks from the Yard podcast is produced by Van Voors Films in Hoboken, New Jersey. Our music is Anticipation by the Gefkins. Check them out on Spotify. We'll be back next week. Get involved.